A frozen socialist wasteland plagued by politeness, public health care, and people who say sorry when they bump into a chair. At least that's what the internet says. And yet, we just got ranked the 4th best country in the world. So to all the haters out there, sorry, but the world still likes us. Maybe it's the healthcare. Maybe it's the lakes. Or maybe it's because we built a country that still works, despite the bagged milk, our obsession with lining up, and the fact that we say, no worries, while deeply, deeply worrying.
We also landed 5th for quality of life. Not bad for a country where 51% of Albertans just said, yeah, we might leave this global utopia and go it alone.
Meanwhile, the US ranks 3rd overall. But when it comes to actually living there, they drop all the way down to 23rd for quality of life. That's not a typo, that's a reality check.
Why the split? Because these rankings aren't just about how countries treat their people, they're also about how much power they project around the world.
The US ranks high overall because it's rich, loud, and everywhere. Military, movies, money. That's projection. But when it comes to protection, like healthcare, public safety, or walking into a school without fear, that's where the US drops like a stone.
But don't be fooled. Canada ranks number 4 overall, so we punch above our weight and we do it quietly.
So if we're this high in all the rankings, why are so many Canadians acting like we're trapped in a frozen wasteland run by tyrants?
Well, let's talk about that, Dave. Because the world sees Canada as a success story, but we seem determined to rewrite it as a tragedy. So what does it actually mean when Canada is ranked 4th best country overall and 5th for quality of life? Is it just because we're polite? Or because we haven't invaded anyone lately?
Sadly, no bonus points for maple syrup production, or for surviving a weekend at Justin Bieber's cottage. These rankings are based on real data. Stuff like healthcare access, job security, education, public safety, political stability, income equality, affordability, public trust in government, and whether you can afford a dentist without launching a GoFundMe.
The overall ranking, that's Canada at 4 in case we didn't tell you, also includes soft power, things like military strength, global media reach, economic influence, and innovation.
And no, we're not a superpower yet, but we've been powerful allies. We've helped defend democracy in wars that weren't our own, stood up for human rights, and actually showed up when it counted. And as Prime Minister Carney said, we're going to be an energy superpower, one that leads with renewables, responsibility, and real-world results.
So whether Trump says we don't pull our weight or not, the world knows better. And if you don't, check out our series on how Canada showed up. The playlist is here, or it's in the links below.
Basically, the overall ranking is about how powerful your country looks to the world. Quality of life is about whether your grandma can afford groceries and medication in the same week.
And that's where Canada quietly crushes it. We're not shouting about freedom at Costco. We're constantly offering healthcare, drinkable tap water, and public education like it's normal.
Canada may not be the most attention-seeking kid in class, but we still hand in our homework, respect the teacher, and don't try to ban the science textbook.
That's why we rank high in categories that matter to actual people. It's why people keep moving here. They're not chasing fame, they just want a functioning, happy life.
And yes, sometimes that includes a moose, a snowstorm, and a 6-month wait for your license plate sticker. But hey, at least it's not $1,200 for an ambulance ride.
And before anyone starts yelling freedom in the comments like it's a magical spell, let's set the record straight.
Canada ranks 5th in the world for freedom. The US, not even in the top 15. That's right, the land of the free. Well, unless you're poor, pregnant, or going to public school.
But that won't stop the usual suspects. Tucker Carlson says Canada's a socialist hellscape. Joe Rogan says he won't even travel here anymore. Bro, you're not welcome anyway. You're a millionaire podcaster who used to host Fear Factor, a show where people ate bugs for rent money. Forgive us if we don't consider you the moral compass of global travel.
And to the MAGA cultists, Canada doesn't need saving. We're not your 51st state. And we're not handing over the keys just because you think we're lost in the snow. You're not rescuing us, you're projecting.
And maybe that's why they're so obsessed with us lately. We actually have the freedom they keep shouting about, and they hate that we're doing it better.
Meanwhile, in Canada, you can still marry who you love, read banned books, go to the doctor without declaring bankruptcy, and enter a library without running into a protest about gender-neutral pronouns.
So the next time someone says Canada doesn't have freedom, what they really mean is Canada isn't run by rage-click millionaires who scream into a microphone for likes. It has public health care, legal rights, and actual safety.
And if you want to wear that pride on your sleeve or your chest, literally, check out our merch store for Canada gear that says, "We get it," without shouting it in all caps and an eagle hoodie. Canada is ranked 5th in the world for quality of life. And that's not just a feel-good stat. It actually matters.
Because in a world full of political chaos, culture wars, fake news, and crumbling trust, Canada is still ranked among the best places on earth to actually live.
Look at who else is in that top 5. Denmark, Sweden, Switzerland, and Norway. 4 countries known for healthcare, safety, education, equality, and not treating government like it's a reality show.
And Canada's in that club. And we're here because we've built a country that values people, not just profit, power, or pageantry.
Meanwhile, the US, land of the free and home of the medical bankruptcy, comes in at number 23. That's what happens when you treat freedom like a brand.
Yeah, they've got billionaires launching rockets and celebrities live streaming their mental breakdowns for brand deals, while half of the country can't even afford an ambulance. But sure, tell us again how we're the ones who've lost our freedoms.
This ranking matters because it proves something really simple. You could run a successful country without demonizing teachers, banning books, or turning every inconvenience into a national crisis.
We don't scream about freedom unless you're someone who idolizes Danielle Smith and Pierre Poilievre.
But if Canada's not careful, we'll lose that. Not because Canada is broken, but because we've been told over and over again to ignore what's working. Too many people are letting rage media and political drama convince them that we're failing.
So the next time someone says Canada's broken, remind them we're in the top 5 countries in the world for quality of life, and we've earned that spot. So keep calm and carny on.
And if America wants to get back into it, maybe start with fewer billionaires and more paid sick days.
And just in case you need a few actual facts to go with your flag waving, or for that one guy from high school who thinks the WEF runs Canada from a ski lodge in Davos, let's talk about what Canada actually has going for it.
We're not just polite, we are the most highly educated country in the G7. More than 60% of Canadians aged 25 to 64 have a post-secondary degree. That's not just nice, that's global top-tier smart.
We've also got 1/5 of the world's fresh water reserves and more natural resources than half the G7 combined. Oil, gas, rare earth minerals, timber, uranium, and oh yeah, we're the 4th largest gold producer on Earth. If the world melts down financially, at least we've got some shiny backup.
And let's also talk about land mass. We are the 2nd largest country on Earth with the population of California and the chill of a Scandinavian day spa. Translation? We've got space, we've got stability, and we're not running out of room anytime soon.
We rank higher than the US in education, safety, healthcare, life expectancy, and, get this, income equality.
And Canada ranks number 5 in the world for freedom. Not that t-shirt version of freedom, the actual kind. Freedom of the press, freedom to vote, freedom to exist without getting profiled or priced out of basic services.
Meanwhile, the US, land of the "Don't Tread on Me" bumper stickers and 12 different voter suppression bills, didn't even crack the top 15.
So the next time someone calls Canada a socialist disaster, just hand them the stats, a passport application, and maybe a nice cold glass of drinkable water, since we still have plenty of that, too.
So here's the weird part. We're top 5 in quality of life, top 5 in freedom, we're overflowing with water, resources, education, and rights, and somehow half the country still thinks we're living in a flaming dumpster.
It's the Canadian paradox. We're winning, and we're miserable about it.
Ask a Canadian how things are going and they'll say, well, housing's a mess, politics are awful, and everything's too expensive, but hey, at least we're not America.
And yeah, those things are real problems. But here's the difference. In Canada, we still have the tools to fix them. We still believe in public health care. We still fund public schools. And most of us trust elections more than YouTube.
But too many people have been convinced we're on the brink of collapse because someone on TikTok told them they can't buy a toaster without a carbon tax.
Or because a podcast millionaire said Canada's a dystopian wasteland from the comfort of their gated Texas compound.
We've started mistaking frustration for failure and outrage for evidence.
And here's what makes it even more bizarre. In the overall global rankings, Canada is ranked number 4, just one spot behind the United States. And we did that without a $1 trillion military budget, a space force, or 27 flavors of political chaos.
That means Canada has power, influence, and reputation. We have it all. We're not just surviving, we're respected. And apparently, that's still not enough for the people who think this country is falling apart.
We've let politicians convince us that everything is broken. Sound familiar? It's so that they can ride in and pretend to fix it with policies that actually make it worse.
The truth is, we know Canada's not perfect, but we're not in crisis. We're just tired. Aren't you tired of the loud voices drowning out good ideas? Tired of being told we're losing when we're clearly not?
And here's the thing. If you keep shouting that your country is failing, eventually people are going to start to believe it. And worse, they're going to start to act like it. And now it's time for our favorite Canadian tradition. Did you know they're Canadian? The part where we name drop legends and pretend not to be smug about it.
Catherine O'Hara, Canadian. Keanu Reeves, yep. Sandra Oh, obviously. Celine Dion, thank you, Quebec. Ryan Gosling, you're welcome, world.
Dan Levy, Simu Liu, Shania Twain, The Weeknd, Drake, Mike Myers, even Michael J. Fox, all Canadian.
And you're not just watching a top 5 country, you're watching a top shelf talent pool disguised as a maple leaf. So if Canada really is one of the best countries in the world, what now?
Now we protect it, because none of this, freedom, healthcare, safety, education, none of it stays unless we fight for it.
Not with rage tweets or bumper stickers, but by voting, speaking up, calling out the lies, and refusing to let grifters turn frustration into division.
You want to love your country? Don't just wave the flag. Protect what the flag stands for.
And honestly, maybe we can thank Trump, because he forced a reckoning. He showed us where the chaos leads, and countries around the world saw it and said, no thank you.
Australia said no, Romania said no, Greenland said we're not for sale. And Canada? We didn't just say no, we doubled down on what makes us different.
We chose facts over fear, public trust over personal gain, and leaders who read books instead of banning them.
Because we've seen what happens when you take this stuff for granted, when democracy turns into drama, and when facts get replaced by whatever's trending on TikTok, and when loud, angry people convince the quiet majority that nothing's worth saving.
Canada works because we make it work together. It's not perfect, it never has been, but it's still better than sliding into the chaos disguised as change.
So maybe instead of tearing it all down, we fix what's broken, we protect what works, and call out the people trying to break it for profit.
Because the rest of the world still sees Canada as a success story, and it's time that we did too.
And if you're still not sure, ask yourself this. If Canada is so broken, why does the rest of the world keep trying to move here?
So if you're proud to be Canadian, say it. Share this video. Let the world know that we're not just surviving, we're thriving and winning!
Woo! Because Canada doesn't need to shout, but maybe it's time we did. Share it, repost it, send it to your freedom-loving uncle. Let's remind everyone what real strength, freedom, and unity looks like.